Hi everyone, welcome to our Friday TNT, last day of the week as we whip around Thailand, checking out some of the major stories. Just a reminder on this one, tomorrow is June the 3rd and it's Veesaka Buscha Day. What is that? And Veesak is a holiday traditionally observed by Buddhists in South Asia and Southeast Asia, as well as Tibet and Mongolia. It's the most important Buddhist festival. So what does this mean for you? It means that tomorrow is a public holiday for Veesaka Buscha Day. Now it's going to be a holiday in lieu on Monday. So Monday will be a public holiday. All the places like immigration, other public services will be closed in lieu of the public holiday tomorrow, which also happens to be Her Majesty the Queen's birthday. Now, because it's the most important Buddhist holiday tomorrow, it means that it'll be an alcohol-free day. You won't be able to buy alcohol anywhere in Thailand, as it's the most important Buddhist holiday of the year. So, if you need to, you can stock up today. I was also contacted by a fellow social media person. He's most prominent on Facebook, and that's Dan About Thailand. And he's reminded me to tell you that Tyson Fury is coming to Bangkok on the 8th of June. Get your Gala dinner tickets now. And it's going to be held at the Millennium Hilton Hotel in Bangkok. It starts at 7 p.m, goes till 10 p.m. Now, I have to admit, I'm not into boxing at all, but apparently he is the greatest heavyweight of his generation, and I'm sure a lot of you would like to see this gentleman who no doubt will be speaking at that gala dinner. So Dan About Thailand on his Facebook page, you can get all the details there if you'd like to see this gentleman in Bangkok. Let's go on to some news today. And Nation Thailand reports that 4-month cut in electricity bills comes into effect. So when does it come into effect? It looks like they're going to backdate it. Let's check some details. Household electricity users will receive discounts on their power bills for the 4 months from May to August. According to a government spokesperson, Anucha confirmed that the subsidy, which was previously approved by the Election Commission, so at the moment, because the government's in caretaker mode, any things like this, any bits of legislation, have to be approved by the Election Commission, and it'll be effective retroactively from May, despite the power bills for May having already been issued. So it looks like you'll get a discount in coming months. This is sort of how it works. Under the measure, those who use 1 to 150 units of electricity will receive a reduction of 92 satang per unit. Those who use 151 to 300 units will get a reduction of 67 satang, and households using 301 to 500 units will receive a flat discount of 150 baht. So as promised, those power bills coming down. I think a lot of us have had very high power bills over the past couple of months. A lot of that will be because we've had our air conditioners on a lot more often than we have in the past. To our next story, and we go to nationthailand.com. Britain files complaint against real estate agent over condo ownership. Now, these things happen more often than we would like to admit. This guy wasn't going to take the situation lying down, and he's taken some action. A British man has filed a police complaint against a property agency in Koh Samui province. It's not a province, it's an island in the Suratani province, after being allegedly scammed into buying a condo valued over 15 million baht but not receiving the ownership rights. 70-year-old David Chappell, together with his lawyer yesterday, filed a police complaint at the CIB in Bangkok. The Briton complained that the property agency in Suratani province had sold him 2 condominium units on Koh Samui, valued at 15 million baht, but had yet to transfer the property. And Chappell said he'd paid the full amount for purchase of the condo units to the company back in 2016, but hadn't received the title deeds or legal documents, even though he'd already moved into the condo. The company reportedly told him later that the condo project had not been approved by the authorities, and therefore the ownership rights could not be transferred to the buyers. But his lawyer was having none of that, and he responded. Chappell's lawyer says the company, which is well known in Suratani province, we don't have a name, opened a website showing photos and legal documents of the condo units, claiming the project was finished and was ready for transfer to attract buyers and property investors. So we'll certainly follow what happens with that case with great interest. Good luck to Mr. Chappell. As I've said before, I don't think you should go ahead and buy property in Thailand. Rent by all means. And if you really do need to buy property in Thailand, make sure you get a very reputable, experienced Thai lawyer, a conveyancing lawyer on your side before you sign anything and before you pay a single baht. Because there are just so many of these little scams that turn up far too often. And I think it's a warning that you should be very careful about buying property in Thailand, because there are just so many other ways that you can enjoy living here and enjoying a property like this one, which I've been in for 3 years now, without actually having to buy them. That's just my opinion. I'm sure other people have other opinions. And we should thank 5 Star Marine with a special deal, which is down in the comments section. If you'd like to go on a private tour, a VIP tour out to any of the islands off Phuket, I can warmly recommend 5 Star Marine. So please take advantage of that deal in the description below. Going to some other news today, we head to the Bangkok Post and it says heat shatters seasonal records in Asia. And the story out of Singapore from Reuters, countries across Asia have been hit by another round of extreme heat and has toppled seasonal temperature records throughout the region, raising concerns about their ability to adapt to a rapidly changing climate. After punishing heat waves struck large parts of the continent in April, temperatures spiked again in late May, normally the start of the cooler monsoon season. So it's usually this time of the year where the monsoon usually starts to kick in, different in some regions, but usually it's this time of the year where things kick in as far as the southwest monsoon is concerned. Also aware that this article is going to trigger the climate deniers out there, so off you go into the comments section. The heat wave in Vietnam, expected to last well into June, has already forced authorities to turn off streetlights and ration electricity as air conditioning demands threaten to overwhelm the power grid. The country recorded its highest temperature ever on May the 6th at 44.1 Celsius. In China, Shanghai endured its hottest May day in more than a century on Monday. A day later, a weather station in Shenzhen also set a May record of 40 degrees Celsius. In India, Pakistan and Southeast Asia already experienced a punishing heatwave in April, causing widespread infrastructure damage and a surge in heatstroke cases. Bangladesh was also at its hottest in 50 years, while Thailand hit a record of 45 degrees. Let me tell you, May was hot, hot, hot. I've never experienced hotter weather here in Thailand. I've experienced temperatures of like 45 degrees in Australia before, but it's usually dry, almost zero humidity. But here you get these temperatures accompanied by the very high humidity as well, which makes it quite overwhelming. Let's go further and check with the Straits Times. And they're reporting Japan experienced warmest spring on record, according to the weather agency. And Japan experienced its warmest spring on record this year, the National Weather Agency said yesterday, as greenhouse gases and El Niño combined to send temperatures soaring worldwide. Temperatures in March, April and May were 1.59 degrees Celsius higher than the average for the same 3-month period over the past 30 years, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. And that marks the biggest gap since the agency started taking comparable measurements in 1898. And quoting that agency, as global warming progresses, such record high temperatures are becoming more common. Average sea temperatures for waters around Japan in the same spring months were tied for the third highest recorded since 1982. So if you want to jump into the comments section and disagree with that story, that's fine. But don't say things like, oh, that's just bullshit, or global warming's a scam. Come up with some reasoned arguments, some interesting thoughts about the matter, and maybe your experiences, or quote sources. So let's be reasonable and intelligent about this if we want to discuss it in the comments section. If you want to get personal, I'll just delete it. The time now to head to Phuket, and the PhuketExpress.com reports 5 senior Kathu police transferred after 2 illegal nightclubs raided. So this didn't happen in Patong, this happened in the sort of dormitory suburb of Kathu, about 15 minutes out of Patong. And 5 senior Kathu police, including the chief, have been transferred after 2 illegal nightclubs were raided in Kathu for allegedly opening over the legal closing times and allowing minors to enter the venue. So some video posted on the Pattaya News YouTube page, and the police making their way into these clubs. I actually know where these 2 clubs are, but the police looking very serious indeed, making their way into the club. One gentleman trying to get out. "Oh, I just want to go to the toilet." And the police making their way in we go, and the rest of the video is blurred for, as we say, privacy reasons. Officials from the Department of Provincial Administration, led by the Kathu Police, raided 2 nightclubs, the Ratri Club and Maha Nakhon Phuket, at 3:30 a.m. yesterday in the early morning. Well, we figure that 3:30 a.m. would be in the early morning. Both nightclubs are located at the Kathu intersection, and there's going to be a full investigation, and 5 Kathu police are being transferred to work at the Phuket Provincial Police Station, and they've been named and shamed. How long will they stay off work? Well, we'll probably never find out. My bet is within a month they'll be back to working there at the Kathu police station. To our next story, from The Nation, the coup-installed Senate not yet ready for move forward, according to a source. The 250 senators appointed by the 2014 coup leaders remain a very real threat to the party that won the most seats in the May 14 election. So we're now in this twilight zone between the election being held, the results being officially announced, and we're waiting for a joint sitting of both houses of parliament, which involves the 500 elected MPs and 250 appointed, hand-picked senators. So it'll be a joint sitting between those 750 people. A core group of senators loyal to the generals, Prayut Chan-o-cha and Prayut Wongsuwon, they're the people who hand-picked them, are actively lobbying their peers not to vote for Move Forward Party Peter to become Thailand's 30th Prime Minister. The core NCPO loyalists are arguing that voting for Move Forward is tantamount to betraying the monarchy. Why? Well, they're trying to convince other senators that Move Forward's repeated vow to amend Article 112 of the Criminal Code, or the Les Majestés law, is proof of the party's opposition to the monarchy. But Peter has repeatedly said that Move Forward simply wants to amend the law to prevent it from being used as a political tool, which I think is a completely different matter. And then Peter still needs support from 64 members of both chambers to become the next Prime Minister, and this will require some support from the Senate. Just on a quick sum up the top, currently he has 312 MPs. So this coalition of 8 parties has 312 out of the 500 MPs, plus he'll need 64 extra votes, either from other MPs in the lower house or from the Senate, to get a magical 376, which would be a majority of the 750 he'll be voting on the day. And sensing an opening, the NCPO loyalists in the Senate have proposed that the next government be formed with Prayut and Prawit as key ministers so they can continue running the country. So more rumours, more speculation that they're a source for The Nation, Thailand.com. We just don't know. There are so many permutations of how to put together the numbers and the way that the next coalition or the next government could be formed. We'll just have to wait for all those politicians to sit down in the Thai Parliament, probably sometime early next month. And we go to this story, and this is from thepattaya.news.com. Thailand ranks world's 3rd digital nomad haven. According to a study by online resume building service resume.io, Thailand ranks 3rd as a top destination for digital nomads, followed by the United States and Spain. And the study analysed nearly 26,000 Instagram posts with the hashtag digital nomad and used geotagged locations to determine the popularity of countries and cities. Yes, that information is freely available. And the top countries for digital nomads based on Instagram posts as of April 2023 are the US, Spain, Thailand, Mexico, France, Indonesia, Portugal, Italy, UK, and India. Thailand, particularly Bangkok, dominates the digital nomad landscape in Asia and Oceania, with the highest number of digital nomad Instagram posts. Chiang Mai, Koh Phangan, and Krabi also rank among the top destinations for digital nomads in Asia. And finally, the Pattaya News pointedly mentioned that it's worth noting that approximately 40 countries now offer digital nomad visas, and most have lifted their pandemic-era entry restrictions. So Thailand could really do itself a favour if it had some sort of specific digital nomad visa. Of course, there need to be some sort of qualifications, but these people will be buying coffees, buying food, renting villas, travelling. So I think Thailand could really make a lot easier for digital nomads. There are so many more of them now roaming the world, looking for great places to go and work. So yeah, I think they're just missing out on a great opportunity. That's it for the week. It's been a very busy week. Thank you for joining in. Please subscribe to the channel if you get an opportunity. Now tomorrow, taking you on our next leg of the adventure as we put together this hotel, resort, guest house. So we'll be speaking more about that on the Saturday morning program. Then on Sunday, Grumpy Old Men with me and Steve, or Steve and I, and that's on Sunday. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend. Remember, tomorrow is a public holiday, an alcohol-free day. We'll see you later.